Assalamu alaikum dear students. This is Department of English Government Postgraduate College Attock and I am Nasir Ali Shah. This is our second lecture about the novel Old Man and the Sea, written by an American author, Ernest Hemingway. In our previous lecture we had introduction about the writer, and now in this lecture we shall have an overview or an introduction about the important points which have been discussed in this novel. The Old Man and the Sea is an interesting, inspiring and impressive novel of Hemingway. The novel reveals man's undefeatable determination, his faith, efforts, endurance, and fight against the heavy odds of life. This representative novel won Nobel Prize and fame for the writer. The novel is simple in style and symbolic in nature. It shows man's hidden qualities in the face of hardships. The hero of the novel, an old man, Santiago, announces, "But man is not made for defeat. A man can be destroyed but not defeated." This is the most important sentence of the novel, or the most important dialogue uttered by the hero, Santiago, who is an old man. It shows his whole character, his strong conviction in his powers, his strong willpower and resolution. And this sentence also shows the dignity of man. It is a novel of character. Almost all the events of the novel revolve around the character of Santiago. Santiago, an old fisherman, lived in a shack or in a little cottage at the coast of the Gulf near Havana in Cuba. A young boy named Manolin also worked with him at his boat. Once the old man couldn't catch a fish for 40 days. Manolin's parents shifted him to another boat. The old man had to fish alone. He couldn't catch a fish even for 84 days. The other fishermen considered him unlucky, whereas some of the older fishermen who were his old friends, they felt sad about him. Manolin, however, loved, respected, and helped the old man. Santiago hoped that he would catch a big fish on the 85th day, as while talking to the boy Manolin, he utters, "85 is a lucky number." Again, this sentence shows his confidence and his hopefulness and his optimism. On the 85th day, we see early in the morning, he gets up earlier than usual, and in the darkness he goes to wake the boy up where the boy lived, and both of them come to the old man's cottage and then pick up the gear and the boat, and they go to row to the seashore. The boy asks him, "Old man, how do you feel today?" And he replies, "I feel confident today." Again, this sentence shows his optimism and hopefulness. Moreover, he says, while talking to the boy, he says, "Every day is a new day." This is another very important sentence spoken by the protagonist, Santiago, showing his strong resolution and courage. We see on the 85th day, Santiago went far out into the sea to try his luck. At noon, he hooked a big fish. The fish started pulling the skiff, or a small boat, away into the open sea. In spite of his best efforts, Santiago could not pull up the fish. He understood that he would get a very tough time with the big fish. The fish was swimming deep down into the water, and the old man even didn't know what he had hooked. The sun set down, but the fish was still swimming. The old man wished that he had the boy with him, and his wish is expressed many times. We see that whenever he is in difficulty or he feels weakness in his heart, more often than once he utters, "I wish I had the boy." In fact, the boy is a symbol of his lost youth as well as a source of inspiration and help for him. Moreover, as an old man, he thinks about that boy Manolin as his own son, and he wants to have his company, but unfortunately, which he doesn't have. The next day, the things were the same. The fish was swimming steadily. The old man was alone on the sea. He talked to himself. He even says about his talking to himself, "If the other people heard me talking to myself, they would think that I am mad." He even didn't remember when he had started talking to himself aloud when he was alone. Perhaps it was when the boy left him. This condition shows the pathos in his character and the strong impact of the loneliness in his life. He didn't lose heart. He said to the fish in a resolute manner, addressing the fish, he says, "Fish, I will stay with you until I am dead." Again, this sentence shows his strong resolution and willpower. It shows that he is ready to face any kind of challenge put against him by the fish. The whole day passed, and the second night came with no change in the behavior of the fish. Santiago prayed to God for the death of the fish. On the third day, the old man was tired. He was feeling giddy. His eyes were fainting, but he still retained his resolution. He was bearing all the pain bravely. But after some time, the fish began to come up slowly on the surface of the water. Then, when the fish came on the surface of the water, the old man, after the 3 days, saw for the first time this huge fish, and he noted that it was even bigger than his skiff. Now the fish began circling around the old man's fish, and the old man prepared himself for the final round. It was after a great struggle that he was able to kill the big fish. The old man himself felt faint and sick. Then, after killing the fish, he lashed the fish alongside the boat and began to sail to the shore. Now he was very happy at his achievement and his heroic struggle, and he was thinking that he had caught the biggest fish of his life. He had seen many great fishes, but he had never seen such a great or big fish. He was thinking also that how many people will it feed? Moreover, philosophically, he thinks that from the great and dignified fight which was put against him by the big fish marlin, he says, are the other people worthy to eat him? Now, it was by no means end of his struggle, although he was very happy. Now, another ordeal was coming on his way in the form of sharks. The battle was not yet over. After an hour, the first shark attacked the fish. Santiago killed the shark, but it went down with his harpoon and a big piece of the marlin. Then two more sharks attacked. He killed them bravely, but they tore away some quarter of the fish. The old man knew that there would be more sharks, but he was determined and resolute. And during his fight with the sharks, he utters the most important dialogue or most important sentence of this novel. He says, "But a man is not made for defeat. A man can be destroyed, but not defeated." This is the most important sentence of the novel. It shows his conviction, his strong resolution, his optimism, willpower, and dignity of man. The sun went down. At night, the old man kept on beating the sharks in the darkness, but there was not much to be done. What was the result? The whole night passed, and the sharks kept on coming in packs or in groups and attacking the big fish marlin and kept on eating its meat. At dawn, he reached the shore with the skeleton of the big fish. He thought that he was beaten, but Manolin, the young boy, assured him that the big fish had not beaten him. The old man fell asleep and dreamed of the lions and his past youth. Thus his adventurous 3 days at the sea had come to an end. The other fishermen were amazed at the big size of the fish which Santiago had hooked. Now we come to the moral of this novel and its plot construction. The plots of Hemingway's stories and novels are very simple. They are concerned with one or two main characters, their disappointments and their struggle to achieve honor and dignity. Like his other novels, The Old Man in the Sea also ends at a point where it begins. The reader is interested how the old fisherman will come out of his struggle with the big fish and his fight against the sharks. It is clear that the old man was bound to lose, but at what cost? Man is helpless before the hidden forces of nature. He loses his marlin, but what he achieves is far more valuable. He achieves the insight that one must go on struggling, whatever be the cost. He achieves dignity in our eyes. The novel is highly considered as the novel of character because it highlights the old man's unflinching faith, unlimited endurance, boundless resolution, and ceaseless efforts. The novel ends in favor of the old man's bravery and struggle, but it brings out the pathos or sadness of his situation and all the human beings. Man is helpless before the hidden and open forces of nature. They, in their completeness, cannot be overpowered by man. Man's power is limited by age, his physical and mental condition, outside surroundings, and his possessions. So, students, these were some of the main points of the novel. In our next lecture, we will start its textual study. Till then, goodbye. Allah Hafiz.